Hi. My anxiety is kind of high right now, but it is what it is. And before we get into this video, I'm going to say that I said what I said, that I created the draconic path. I am not taking that back, and I have people to back me up, including Cricket Song, who I, back in 2016, created a whole 24-page document that is probably still on my computer that is not plugged in, and sent it to her, filled with evidence and proof and things like that. I said what I said, and after this video, that's that. I don't care what anybody else's ego or whatever thing says, and this is not an ego trip. It is the fact that something very personal that I was dumb enough to, broadcast. That part is definitely on me. Was taken and somebody ran off with it and claims to pretty much just trying to claim it. But anyway, I wanted to address a couple of things. One of them being that DJ Conway inspired the path. In an indirect way, yes. She did, in an indirect way, inspire the draconic path. But the problem here is that despite being a Wiccan author, her books, including the first one that I got, I think I was like 16. It was The Black Cat Shop in Wallingford, Connecticut. It was open from 2002. No, not that early. Because I was a sophomore in high school. About 2004 to 2006. That sounds right. Maybe they were only open for 2 years, and I believe that was that. And I was about 16 when that happened. Something along those lines. But that was the first official metaphysical shop that I had ever been in, and it's one of those experiences that you just don't forget. And I remember their little cat, Pierre, or we called him Mr. P. He had one blue eye, one green eye. He was a white cat. I don't know the breed though. But he was sweet. He was cute. He wasn't mine, but I miss him. But that was where we were standing there, my mother and I, we were standing there talking to, her name was Lily Patterson. I've never been able to find her on social media despite trying. But her name was Lily, she owned the shop. And I'm standing there and I'm just kind of looking around like I normally do. And I look down to the bottom shelf and I see this blue, because the original cover art for Dancing with Dragons is blue. I still have it somewhere. And I picked it up and I looked at it and it was something different. And the thing about me is that I like different, I like learning new things. And, I hadn't been intrigued by dragons since I was little. I don't know, single digits. But they're fascinating creatures. But sorry, I'm getting noise in here. But I hadn't... Backing up a little bit. DJ Conway was also my first... Pretty much my first. After I had told my mother that I wanted to be a witch at 12 years old. I was 13. We went into... I think it was called Walden Books. Before it became Borders. And it was... Unfortunately, it was a little bit... I think it helped me to, like... I don't know. I'll just say it. It was Celtic Magic by DJ Conway. The tiny little thing that was $8. But it was my first. I won't make that joke. I normally make that joke, but... If you have a dirty mind, you know what joke I'm going with, but... So, I saw that was by her, and of course, that intrigued me even more, you know? And I brought it home and started reading it. And the first couple of times that I tried to get any sort of feel whatsoever for it, just it didn't vibe. Like, I had one guardian already that I did not know that's what he was. And he showed up 6 months after I was 13 when my stepdad committed suicide. In a rather graphic way that still bothers me. And I'm 36 now. And I'm the one who found him. But one night I couldn't sleep. And I was laying there crying. And I've already told this story before. I don't remember what video was in, but I've been over this story before. I had one pillow for my head, and then I had one down the side by the wall. So then I went kind of like roll over and hit the wall. But I was crying, you know, I was traumatized. Me and my mother both were, but how she managed to heal faster than I did, I applaud her, because she stayed down in the basement to try to get him down and to untie the cable that he had used. Maybe me kind of like living through her eyes probably doesn't help me in my healing department, but anyway, so my little green dragon, who I still won't say the name of, he showed up, and I thought that I was hallucinating. I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I was traumatized, and it's like, okay, well, maybe I'm just, you know, losing my fucking marbles. But it wasn't until, like, I went to go and roll over in order to just kind of be like, okay, well, this isn't happening, you know, I'm losing it. And I literally felt him walk over me, like, step on me. And the way that I had my arm, he laid down, and I felt the weight of his energy on my arm. And he laid there until I finally fell asleep. So, but anyway, other than him, when it came to trying out the rituals in that book when I was like 15, 16, whenever I found this book, I don't remember. I don't know if it was me, I don't know if it was them, maybe I wasn't ready, things like that. But I had tried multiple times, just seeing, feeling. But I continued in order to read and try to hold as much information as I could. But again, back then on the internet, yes, there was information on Wicca that, started to really become more popular. But there wasn't a whole lot of sources when it came to dragon magic and whatnot, especially when dragon magic was considered a left-handed path, and it still is, to a lot of people. They see it as the devil's work, and it's just, they see it as demonic and evil because it's dragons, even though that's, some dragons you do have to be careful of. It's like dealing with humans. You have your good ones, you have your bad ones, you had the light, you had the dark. It's all a balance. But of course back then I was new, I was still learning. So in 2011 I had started to do research because I wanted to combine dragon magic, which is primarily what Dancing with Dragons is. It's a dragon magic book, with Wicca. I even went on forums. I asked about it. Unfortunately, I do not have proof of said forums, because back then I didn't really need proof. But I digress. But again, this has all been told before. I'm not shy about what the origins were, where it came from. I'm not shy about it, because I don't like it being done to me. So anyway, asking on forums on any sort of information or direction on where to go, to see if draconic Wicca existed at all. And a lot of the answers, actually all the answers that I got, were either I don't know, well, you can practice dragon magic, you can practice Wicca, but to combine them, it as far as people knew, it didn't exist. And that's when I decided to go ahead and I made my decision to combine them. Now, in saying that, I had to be careful. And the reason for why I had to be careful, and I don't remember when it was published. Again, it's a book that I have somewhere, but I don't remember when it was published. I bought it I posted my Draconic Wicca video in August 2011. It was the 18th. I found and purchased Sea, Land, Sky by Parker J. Torrance, September 2011. So that's, I think it was roughly a week, a whole month after I said that my new path was Draconic Wicca. And that book, especially when I got it and I could see it in person, didn't actually combine dragon magic, and Wicca. And that was dated before I made my video. And he even went through and like drawing down the moon and stuff like that, he rewrote them. He rewrote them in order to have them have a draconic influence or draconic feel to them. So then you still had that combination, and that was something I hadn't done because I hadn't gotten to that point. And it was just, obviously, you know, the way that he did things were different. You know, like the whole altar setup was more like a triangle than, you know, your normal pentagram or pentacle, however one that you'll prefer. The way that I learned was that the pentacle was the one with the circle, and the pentagram was just star. Just, it didn't matter which way it went. There's still a lot of controversy about what a pentagram is, but it is what it is. But I even started to kind of like review that book. That video is still on the channel. I addressed that book. I addressed Mystical Dragon Magick, which literally says Dragon Magick on it. And the reason for why I stopped recommending DJ Conway when it came to pretty much any of it, but especially when it came to Dragon Magick, there was, I'm not saying that's wrong, but there's one map in there that is not found anywhere else. It, like, I've tried looking it up. I even tried doing a visual search on Google, and it doesn't exist anywhere else other than in that book and the copies that people had made of that map. Which, you know, I don't want to insult people, but people who, I don't know how to say it, but there's a point to where you kind of had to ask, you know, just start asking questions like why, you know, what's the validity of any of this, especially considering that she had also been accused of creating or writing her books inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, because apparently she was an avid Dungeons and Dragons player. So that was a thing. But especially since even in the first book, Dancing with Dragons, and even throughout her Wiccan books, you could feel the hatred for Christianity coming through the books when she started bashing them. And of course, back then I was young and naive, and I'm like, yeah! And then, you know, I grew up and, you know, I matured and things like that. And it's just like, what does this have to do with, you know, what we're talking about? You know, we're here in order to, you know, learn about dragon magic. Why are we bashing Christians? It's like, can we stay on subject? So that was kind of another thing to where I wasn't for that. I'm still not for that. I mean, yes, they had their things and they have their history and they're still creating history, but I want to learn about a specific thing, not, you know, have a bash party through a book. But that's just my thing. But I just, yeah. But when it came to my video in 2012. I was talking, and the title, The Draconic Path, flew out of my mouth. Again, this has been explained multiple times before. And these videos still exist. Everything that I have spoken about has existed, sprinkled throughout my videos. The only thing that I am taking credit for is the title, The Draconic Path, and what I made it, because it was mine. I even said in, that other video, my last Draconic Path video, that I wasn't going to say that I created the Draconic Wicca. I didn't create Draconic Wicca. My words are getting jumbled, and I had to go and do a thing today that I don't want to, which isn't helping. But anyway. I didn't create Draconic Wicca. I did create the Draconic Path. I would like to give credit to Parker J. Torrance for the creation of Draconic Wicca, because that was the breadcrumb that I found after I created it. It was one of those, I kind of feel like I manifested the answer because it happens that way. I manifested chickens last year. I told my husband earlier last year that eventually I wanted to get chickens in the backyard. And it was before the winter. And we had 2 stray chickens show up in our backyard and just start making their noise. And I just like, what the go back there and I see something running. I think it's a cat. And I'm just like, what is that? And a couple of days later, it's like, there's 2 chickens in our backyard. So my life is kind of funny like that. And, there are things that people manifest to, but it's just one of those, it's funny. And it helps to remind me what I'm capable of and what I'm capable of manifesting and creating. But oh yes, because I hadn't been, I feel like I kind of manifested that book into my reality. Like, I didn't create the book. I did not create the book. That's not what I'm saying. But because I hadn't been looking so hard for several months before I'm like, yay, my new path is Draconic Wicca, and I have no information on this to give you because, as far as I know, it doesn't exist. And then, a month later after I post that, I find that book on Amazon. And it was posted for about $6. I paid $4 in shipping. So it was like 10 something. I thought that was actually more. I thought that was double than that because I'd seen some, I think he was self-published, but they normally go for like $20. That was half that. Because, you can go back into your purchase history, and so I did. And stuff like that. So, many things have inspired this path, but none of them directly created Draconic Wicca. Except for maybe Parker J. Torrance. And he deserves that credit. And I'm not taking that from him. I don't care to. So, and I don't even know if it's a pen name. I've never met this person or even attempted to find this person because I don't know how creepy that would be. Nor to... I don't know. I mean, people do it all the time, but... Sorry, I heard noise. But yeah. My path is my own. The draconic path is my own. You guys don't even know what that path is anymore because I stopped sharing it. And that's what makes the draconic path mine. So, yeah. I'm not getting into this argument. I'm done. I said what I said. And I stand on that. You want to get mad, you want to throw a fit, go right ahead. It's not gonna do any better good. I need to learn to regulate emotions and mature and not pretend that people don't exist. A lot of people have been interested in dragons since they were kids. A lot of people have drawn dragons. You know, I had a botched fairy dragon on my arm, on my wrist, or here. It was here. That was my first tattoo. And that was, I know it was August 4th because that was one of my friend's birthdays. And I want to say that was 16 when I got that. Thinking. Yes, I would have been 16, I think. I don't know. Either 16 or 17, because I hadn't gotten another tattoo a few months after that. And I won't share the reason why, because no one else would get it, but I was either 16 or 17 when I got that, and unfortunately, it was someone's art. It was someone's art, and I can't find the original image anymore. I got it off of the internet. I printed it out, and I can't find the original image anymore. I can find a fellow botched tattoo. I think it was on someone's back. Mine, you know, I showed where mine was, but it's like down here, and it's like that looks like mine, but in a different area. It's like, I'm so sorry. Like, it's one of those I relate I'm sorry's. It's like, I get it. Of course, I had mine covered because I still love him. I know he's still there. And I can even still see little parts of him through because it doesn't fully cover everything. I mean, it's tattoos and it's skin, so. But, yeah. A lot of people have been into dragons. A lot of people have been inspired by dragons. So, you know, there's literally ancient cultures around the world. That's how we know of dragons. So it's just... yeah. I don't know. That's it. That's all I want to say. Now, I need to go and do the things that I don't want to do. and this video is already 30 minutes long. So, I'm done. I said what I said. I hope you have a great day. And, yeah. This is it. This is the last thing on this spirit. And if you wish to rummage through all the videos that I have posted and am repeating myself in this one, feel free. Enjoy. You know, I love having people here as long as they're kind. This is going to sound hypocritical and ironic. Don't believe everything you hear on the internet. Okay. There are the bigger people who end up becoming the bigger influences of certain things. And there are, throughout history, there have been the little people who have been stolen from to allow that person in order to become that bigger, more popular person. If you're gonna be original, you can kind of, don't be surprised when you end up copied and ignored.